Live and direct, live on the set. Casted Crowns Inc. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a lovely evening. So good to see you guys. Hopefully, this is a nice, entertaining show. I want to thank you guys for checking in. Those that's going to come through, we welcome you. We welcome you all. We hope everybody has a wonderful day. Has had a wonderful day. Has an having a wonderful evening. It always sounds like I've been enjoying myself too much when I start these things, but I really haven't. My enjoyment comes about once we get going, once we get the show on the road. And I realize the more I see myself on camera, how much I really look like my pops, which is wild. It's funny, the older my father gets, the more I feel that I resemble him. Anyway, shout out to my dad, shout out to my pops, shout out to my father. So tonight, we're discussing trouble with the ladies. Gentlemen, are you having trouble with the ladies? What is the solution? What exactly is the problem? What is going on that we're having issues with the ladies? Or the ladies out there that would like to share some words of encouragement or advice? I saw, I'm not sure, no, I don't think it was today. I saw something yesterday. It was some form of advertisement of, I think, like a speaking engagement or something like that that's coming up. And I'm not sure with who the speaker was. I didn't have enough time to really catch it. But the title of it was I Am Enough. I Am Enough. And the woman who is putting this whole thing together, that's the title of her engagement, that she is enough. And that is something that you may tend to hear from time to time when it comes to platforms and speakings that's from a woman's perspective, that women will ensure that they are going to put their flag and stamp it in the ground that they are enough. I don't need to look like her. I don't need to sound like that one. I don't need to be any of those things. I just need to be me, right? And that's sufficient. That sounds pretty good. That's something that it seems that people could get behind, the idea that that particular woman, whoever she may be, is enough. And she's enough for the world, so she should be enough for you. So when it comes to the men out there, men tend to have trouble with the ladies, but we don't really hear that a man should be accepted for who he is and how he is. When it comes to men, we tend to hear a lot about how a man should be, what makes a real man. You see, a real man would have done, that's what makes a real man. A real man will take care of another man's kids. That's what makes a real man, right? We even used to hear in the past, a real man, you're not a real man until you went to jail. We even used to hear that stupidness growing up. So there's a lot of various things that people say about a real man. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Salute to you, Mario. So what is it that would lead to men having issues with the ladies? As you should see from the thumbnail, you saw then President Barack Obama, and he was speaking with the governor of Arizona. She escapes my name. She escapes my mind. Her name escapes my mind, and you see that she was really telling him off in that picture. So even though he was the president of the United States of America, he seemed to be having trouble with the ladies. So again, how do we ensure that men are flying high when it comes to the women? Now, who am I to even have such a thing to say? Who am I? Am I the dating expert? Am I the dating coach? Am I the man who knows this and knows that and knows the secret to a woman's heart? Is that me? Could that possibly be me? And that's why I'm out here to be such a generous person. What's going on? Peace to you. Peace to you. Is that why I'm out here to share all of these things? Well, maybe. Let's find out. But a few things I'd have to say is number one, I'm married. So if you're married and you're married to a woman, being the husband, then you're going to learn a lot about women. You're going to learn a lot about women. And there's something about a married man when it comes to other women. Other women tend to trust married men. I'm cool. How you doing? I'm enjoying my evening. To be quite honest, I'll be very transparent. My days haven't been the greatest the last couple of days. But we all got to go through ups and downs in life. But I'm feeling good to be here right now because even though things is happening with me, you see, that's why we here. That's why we connecting. Because they said them too. That's why we connecting. Because everything is about what could you do for someone else. Everything we go through is a lesson that you could possibly share with someone else. That's why you can't give up because it can't just be about you. So all in all, like I was saying, women tend to trust married men. They tend to trust their perspective. They tend to trust their point of view, right? They tend to put their guard down amongst these men because over the fact that they know that these men actually have a better footing when it comes to understanding women. Now, this isn't knowing all women and all of that other type of stuff, but it comes to just having a basic grasp and comprehension because over the fact that you live with a woman. If you live with a woman, especially for an extended period of time, you see things that you know the internet is not telling you. You'll see things that you know a Hollywood movie is not telling you. You're going to experience life in a totally different fashion because you're actually dealing with a woman in all of her facets. You're dealing with her when she's happy. You're dealing with her when she's sad. You're dealing with her when she's up. You're dealing with her when she's feeling jealous. You're dealing with her when she's feeling insecure. You're dealing with her when she's feeling left out, overlooked. And this is all if you are actually a part. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Thank God for that. This is if you're actually involved in your marriage, if you actually pay attention, if you're observant, if you listen to the things of what it is your wife says, your girlfriend says, in these committed relationships, if you're paying attention to what it is that's really going on, and if you start to notice what it is that a woman may not say, right? If you notice what it is that a woman may not say when you ask certain questions, then you should really be storing that in the files over, oh, okay, I start to understand a little bit more the characteristics of a woman. Now, this is generally speaking, every woman is not the same. There's many things that could play into a woman's life by the time you meet her as an adult. What's one of the first things that can play or have a serious impact on a woman's life by the time you come across to her in life? Some people would say if her father's around. See, we got that right there. We got that. It's your name, Meow. They said relationship with the father. That's a very excellent point. Very excellent point. But before we get to the relationship with the father, there is something that only an honest woman, especially a mother and a wife, will tell you. One of the biggest things that's going to impact a girl's life, especially when she reaches adulthood, that's going to be playing out when you men are coming across these women is her relationship with a mother. The characteristics of that woman's mother, where does her daughter, now this adult woman, where does she stand regarding how it is that her mother was? Because let's say the father's in the household, you may have friction the older the daughter gets because the daughter, and everything we're speaking about is healthy, let's just be clear. The daughter may be appealing more to the father as far as his time. The mother may be looking at that as being a little bit competitive because over the fact that the father is now paying so much attention to his daughter and they're starting to bond, because the older that she gets, she understands that having a healthy relationship with her father, and that being her gateway into adulthood, having that healthy relationship and that bond with her father and that communication with her father is how she is going to use all of those skills and all of that insight that he's going to provide for her. She's going to know how to navigate in life because of the relationship of what it is that he has with her. So you may have a wife who's a mother, who has a daughter, who now there starts being tension in the household amongst the daughter and the mother. There's constant arguments. And it seems to the mother that the daughter or the father is always siding with the daughter, or she doesn't talk back to the father the way she talks back to the mother. Now, let's say there isn't a father in the household, or if there isn't even a father in the picture at all. But if there's not a father in the household, if the mother was actively dating often with random guys throughout that daughter's life, and let's say the daughter looks at that and she has issues with that and she actually has resentment towards her daughter for such a thing, the last thing that daughter is going to want now that she's a woman is to be viewed the same way. She may have, I appreciate that, I thank you. She might even have resentment towards her mother and then end up being the antithesis to what it is that her mother is. And she doesn't want any man to even slightly disrespect her or to talk to her in a way that makes her feel how she thinks that her mother is. Because she knows her mother is entertaining all of these guys throughout her life, and these men were not her father. So, because of her dissatisfaction with her mother's choices, then she's not like that. So, if you're a guy who doesn't take that woman serious, and you're not looking to be around with some form of sustenance and substance in that woman's life, she's not going to get along well with you at all. That's what's up. I wish all the best to you guys. She's not going to get along well with you at all. She's going to take that as an offense because over the fact that you are trying to bring her. Now, you may not know that, but based on how you're dealing with her, you're trying to bring her to a place that's going to make her feel like her mother. And she has resentment for her mother. She doesn't look at her mother in a respectful light. So she doesn't want to be seen that way or treated that way. So that relationship right there is extremely important. If she has issues with her mother, if it's respectful enough, you may want to get to the bottom as to why she actually has issues with her mother. Because if the issues with her mother have placed her in a certain space emotionally and mentally where she looks down on certain behaviors or certain characteristics or displays of other women who she may find don't necessarily take life serious. They're just running after anything of whatever it is that they may find, or they're looking to use people and stuff like that. She may be very guarded and very close to the chest with how she actually feels and how she really is, because that's the last thing of what it is that what she wants. And she may not necessarily have the tools to communicate that, or she may not want to. She may be very protective of herself. And you got to understand these things because women are not just a model of what you're going to see, and everybody's going to be that way. And one thing, no, I don't got a girlfriend, I got a wife. One thing is that if you know, you know. A woman's mind is a very dynamic place. If that woman's mind is set and geared on the right path and she's well put together and she has control over the thoughts that enter into her head. And she's got a game plan in life. And she's really working towards her plan, and her thoughts and her emotions are all in line with her destination. Can't play with a woman like that. But if a woman is emotionally not where she needs to be, and her mind tends to go into very, very dark places, then it may be very difficult to get that woman out of there. And it's not really your place to get her out of there because it's her fight. But that's something that happens. So again, that mind is extremely dynamic for a woman. It could be a carnival, it could be a circus, it could be Wall Street, it could be a Fortune 500 company going on upstairs. Because a woman's mind can, I mean, it's amazing the amount of things of what they can see, how they can see it, how they can break stuff down, how they can interpret things, how they can break stuff apart, put it all back together, how they can multitask, how they can do so many things. So if you're a man and you're interested in women and you're interested in that one particular woman who you want to have that bond with for a significant amount of time to see how far that relationship can go, you have to understand that a woman is very multifaceted. She's not just one way. If you're coming across a woman who's just one way, chances are that is not going to go well, because whatever that one thing is, everything is going to hang on that one thing. So if that one thing is you need to call me all throughout the day, every single day, if you miss a call, then all hell is broken loose. Your world is coming to an end, right? So it can't just be that. But if she's organized, if she's got things going for herself, she's got so much on her plate, but she's strategizing and she's materializing her thoughts, they're manifesting in her life. She's got dates and accomplishments and goals. She's got a freaking Venn diagram over how things are going over here and where they meet in the middle. If you dealing with that type of stuff in a woman, then you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for that. She may not want to share those skills with you. She might expect you to actually be able to do the same things of what she's doing. Right? So when it comes to a man who's looking for a woman and how to interact with that woman, you need to have skills of your own. You need to be put together well, or you need to be on the path of getting yourself together. But you need to not be afraid of where you are. And afraid isn't necessarily the right word. The correct word is you need to not be ashamed of where you are if you know where you're going. See, if you know where you're going, you need to not be ashamed. So if you're a man and you're talking to a woman who's a nuclear physicist, you need to be just as confident as if you were talking to a woman who's a construction worker and you're a lawyer. You need to be just as confident. You need to be just as confident if you're a physical trainer and you're talking to a woman who's a judge. If somehow, some way y'all have crossed paths and your lives have now met, whether at a lounge, a bar, a social gathering, a parade, a meet and greet, a pop-up, the socials, whatever it is that y'all are doing, you got to this point for a reason. And if you meet this woman here at that particular point, it's for a reason. So you can't look at her and then think about, well, why does she do that? Why did your girlfriend move to California? If you don't mind sharing. You can't look at that as you're insignificant because of a woman's career, her aspirations, her college education. That's something that I hear a lot, that a woman's college or a woman's educational background intimidates men. I never really understood that because if a woman goes to college, there's men there. So why would men be intimidated by an educated woman? And even if somebody goes, well, oh, I went to an all women's school, well, there's an all men's school that's typically the brother school to that school because her mom made her. Well, if she didn't stay, how you feel about now that she's gone? I know you sad about the loss, but if she left, what's the plans for the future? Is she coming back? Is she working and coming back? Are you going to California? Or you need to just move on with life? Moving on is a very rough thing to do in relationships, especially when you've been around for a certain period of time. It's not easy to let that go because not only is it just the person, but it's also the life that's now become part of your life, and y'all have formulated this life together. So once a person goes, that makes it rough. Yeah, you're gonna move. Well, just make sure that if you do move to California after it is that she moved, that you got some stability for yourself moving out there. You don't want to be chasing her. And I'm not saying because you moving out there because she moved out there that that will be chasing her. I'm saying you need to make sure that you have something good going for yourself when you're out there because obviously she already has something in place for why she went out there when you don't, right? Your relationship isn't as strong as you might anticipate because of the fact that she left over someone else, albeit her mother. But if her mother has enough presence in her life to make her go to California without you, then you going there may not necessarily be saving the relationship, but you're trying to save your feelings in the situation of not suffering that loss. And you may very well get out there and the relationship is not the same of how it was prior to the move. So if you're going to do that, keep that in mind. Also, make sure that you're protecting yourself while you're out there. Just want to share that bit with you. So, again, as it goes back to these relationships that men are going to come across with women, you have to be confident. You have to be confident, and you can't allow anyone to put you down because they value you at a low value, high value, mid value, all of that stupid stuff, high frequency, and a lot of that is nonsense. And a lot of that stuff is coming from people who don't, it was good talking to you, good talking to you. A lot of that nonsense is coming from people who don't even have a leg to stand on as far as relationships and dating. They say a lot of foolishness because being in multiple relationships does not make you a relationship expert. Being a person that's been on multiple dates does not make you a dating coach. This is something that I've gone into in the past, and it's actually how a good amount of dating coaches is a great possibility that they're prostitutes. Be very realistic with you guys, very transparent. It's a great possibility that that's who they are. They're SWs. You know why? Who is going to have the type of view when it comes to dating to make it seem like dating should be transactional? Who is going to have the perspective that when it comes to dating, dating is going to be something that needs to be the high point and not so much the relationship? A woman who's in the field of, who's very active with men for financial gain, she's not going to look highly on relationships because she understands that a good amount of her clients, they're probably in relationships themselves. So she's not going to look fondly on being in a relationship. And what relationship can she herself sustain in that line of work? What relationship can she sustain? She can't sustain a relationship. But what she can do is she can take advantage of people who are ignorant or who are naive or who are willing to believe anything of what it is that's said, as long as it's said with some form of conviction or something sparkling catch your eye, or something sprinkling to catch your eye and catch your attention. And then you realize you're under the influence of a witch, somebody who plays spells on the minds of naive women, or women who've been hurt so they know how to take advantage of your vulnerability the same way how a man would. Because people who want to do someone wrong and who want to take advantage of the place of which they're in life, that's not something that's gender based. That's not gender specific. A woman will take advantage of another woman just as fast as a man will take advantage of a woman. Probably more so faster, because they're going to feel they know women more than men. So they know what's on your mind because they know what's been on their mind. So they're going to use that against you because you're going to let your guard down because it's a woman. Let's get back to the basics though. It's still about having trouble with the ladies. If the men out here are having issues with the women, what exactly is the issue of what you are having? Are you having repetitive issues? Are you coming across that throughout your time and throughout your various relationships, are you finding yourself to keep having the same issues? How many relationships are actually committed relationships of some form of substance? Do you live together? If somebody is giving you relationship advice and they have never lived with a person of the opposite sex, you need to turn fast. You need to swipe fast because they don't know. That is the highest point of a relationship, is when you are living with one another. It doesn't get any higher than that. If you're not living with that person, it doesn't matter if you have children by them. You can have children by 5 different people. You never live with them. You've never tended to a household with them. We don't want to hear what you have to say about finances. You have zero experience when it comes to dealing with finances of somebody of the opposite sex. Zero experience when it comes to it. And if chances are you have children with someone else, you got children with a guy, has that guy ever dealt with you with finances outside of the court system? So if your preference was to automatically set it up because you weren't legally married, so you wanted to automatically set up that the way of how y'all deal with finances concerning your children is through the court system, then what do you actually know about budgeting a household to share that information with somebody else? Now, the deceived and the confused and the ignorant and the dumb as hell would follow that, but they won't even think twice to want to know, wait, hold up. Did she ever even live with that man? So why would I get relationship advice from a person who's never experienced the highest points of a relationship? Some people tend to look down on a person who's married and they say, you can't give me dating relationship. You can't give me, dating advice. That's crazy. Because the outcome of dating that's optimal, that's high, is when the person stays. That's the point. So if you're dating and a person is leaving you, or they're not interested after the first date, then there's something wrong. That's why you hear so many people running around these internet streets talking about that first date and how you can't accept this, you can't accept that, you can't go to the museum, you can't go to the park on the first date, you can't go to a game on the first date, you can't go anywhere on the first date. The menu needs to be of a minimum price point of $75 on the first date. All of those people, they're not getting anything past the first date. They're not getting past the first date. They're going to crash out on that first date. The person who is on a date with them is going to see how they really act in person, not online. Now that we offline, I see how you act in real life. And damn, I'm out of here. That's why the first date is so important to them. And they want to tell you what you can't do and can do. It's basically like dating is how they eat. That's their meal. Their meals throughout the week is dating. They don't have food in their fridge. They don't have food in their cabinets. They don't know how to cook a meal. They eat hot food from various dates with various guys who's willing to date somebody they just met. That's how they're going to eat. So the first date is going to be extremely important. They'll talk more about the first date than anything moving on. It used to be about sex on the first date or how many dates till you have sex. Now it's just about the first date. That's it. You don't even hear about anything else, only the first date. And they'll say something stupid. No, I'm not a dog. We're not walking in the park. I'm not a dog. But a good place to go on the first date is a museum. But museums, oftentimes, there's a park connected to the museum. So if we go to the museum on the first date, because I want to see if you're culturally inclined or if you're an ignorant fool, but if we go to a museum on the first date, wouldn't we then walk through the park? Maybe even to get to the restaurant? What's the issue with that? But you go on the first date to get to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. We're not out here tooting ourselves. And y'all know what I mean when I say that. That's not what we out here doing. We out here for the longevity, staying power. That's what we're about. Style, class, charisma, undeniable. We want to meet these women, and when they look at us in the face, they're like, I'm never letting that go. You think I'm going to let another woman come along and take that? Hell no. So again, you have to have confidence in yourself and refuse to be put down by anyone you may come across. Even if it's some friendly banter. Even if the woman is checking you out to see where you stand and how you are. And if your mind is right. And if you know how to respond. There's women who like to test men. That's what they want to do. They want to test you. And I'm not talking about testing your manhood. I'm talking about testing you to see how you're going to respond to certain situations. Do you have all of the pieces in play to know how to counteract what it is that they're putting on the table? Or are you just going to have an ignorant response? You want to do that. We're not brutes. We're gentlemen over here. That's who we are. So having that perspective and that viewpoint on how you go about your adult interaction in a healthy level with women is something that's extremely important. But the women of who you're looking at need to be women of a certain caliber. You can't be looking at the bottom feeders and that's who you want to shoot your shot at, unless you're a bottom feeder yourself. And if you are, step your game up. There's nothing cool about that. Nothing is cool about that at all. You need to know how, because life, you're going to have pain in life, period. Period. A lot of people say this is why I stay single. Single people be themselves all the time, more so than married people. So you're not pain free by staying single. As a matter of fact, the longer you're single in life, the more drama you're going to come about because you're going to realize you're coming across so many other people that's playing games with their household, playing games with their lives, playing games with other people's money, playing games with you. And you're just caught up in the drama. When you go out of town with your friends, drama. stories, mayhem, crashing out, issues. The longer you just out here facing the elements, all of these winters, it's winter season right now. You out here in the winter, you know how frigid and cold you are. You coming across a woman and a man right now who's got frostbite all on their heart. Those who went through the pandemic all alone, didn't have nobody there to be booed up with. That wasn't nice. That wasn't fun. That wasn't easy. That was rough and rugged. And it shows. It shows. So to avoid the relationships isn't because you got some greater outlook on things. Oftentimes, it's because you're avoiding the responsibility. You are failing when it comes to relationships with other adults, especially other adults who aren't necessarily biased towards you, like friends who don't really give you good, friendly advice. They just say things to you because they don't want to see you upset, because they know how you are. So they basically just either lie to you or they tell you what you want to hear because they know how you rock. So they're not going to tell you what it is that you need to know. But when it comes to a relationship, it's a great possibility that your significant other is going to tell you the things of what you need to know, whether you want to hear it or not. Now, can you handle that? Can you accept somebody who has a right viewpoint about you? Can you accept that? Many cannot. Many can. Many cannot. So people look to avoid the relationships, but they get involved in so many relationships that emulate an actual relationship. Because in the past, if you weren't in a relationship, you were alone. You wasn't single. You were alone. See, today single, you could be living in a man's house and say you're single. You can have that man's child, but again, because you're not legally married, you're a single mom. That's the stupidness they play. So being in the relationship takes serious commitment. You have to be ready for that. You have to know, you have to be fully convinced and persuaded in your mind that this woman that you've come across in life is the one, that there's none other. There's no other woman like her. And guess what? When you have that woman, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let other women know. Don't think because the woman that's in your life, she's not that particular status, that particular point, or that particular level, she ain't level up, or she's not here, or whatever. Don't allow other people's opinions of what it is that a woman should be or your woman should be. You shouldn't even be hearing it, because they should be having enough respect for you that they know to not even dare speak against the woman that's in your life. And you've got to hold her up there in that high regard. You can't be having open invitation to people disrespecting your wife, disrespecting the woman that's in your life because of the way of how you act and the way of how you carry yourself. You can't allow that, right? You have to keep yourself at a certain character, and then people know the things about you is to be respected. And then hopefully the woman that you're involved with, she also keeps that level and that status up. And she's of a certain character, right? Because that's what you should be looking for. If you're of a certain caliber and a certain character, then the woman who you're with should reflect that. And when she's out and about in the world, there's reasons for things like, no, I'm spoken for. That doesn't come from a place that a woman cannot speak. That comes from a place as back the F up and respect the fact that I have somebody in my life. You're not dealing with somebody who's alone. You're dealing with somebody who has something, and something of strength, and something of substance. So no, don't think you can get me on the side and try to play games with me like I'm just some other girl out here. No, I'm spoken for. And the ones who mean you harm or negative, when they hear that, they're going to run away. The ones who are respectful and the ones who know how to acknowledge something, they're going to see that and they're going to hear that from a woman. And then they're going to honor that woman's relationship. And they're going to honor that woman and where she's in life and where she's at. And then her status elevates. And now she gets dealt with differently. Now you can have a situation when a guy's trying to riz that woman and someone else be like, no, 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 she got a man. See, that's respect. That's not about belittling a woman and she can't speak for herself. Nah, we're not Neanderthals. That's respect. So if you're having trouble with the ladies, you got to look into yourself. You got to understand the type of women who you've come across so far in life. Think about where you met them, how you met them. What did they see in you from the beginning? What were you showing about yourself? What were you responding to? Whether negative or positive, were you easily responding to things that was not necessarily the best for you? What was the outcome? And are you confident in yourself? And if so, what do you think it's going to take for you to be confident in yourself? So, ladies and gentlemen, we bring this night to a conclusion. We thank you guys for your time. We thank you guys for the chat. We thank you guys for the comment. We thank you guys for subscribing. The ones of you who catch this in the future, definitely follow along with us. We want to have so much more with you guys. Beautiful artwork like y'all see back there. You can't see the whole thing, but beautiful artwork like you see right there. We got a lot that we have and experience in life. We got a lot that we have through various conversations with just some standout people, standout influences, standout impressions in life. And it's nothing that's better than actually interacting with the people. And then the day will come when we're able to have people up here, we see each other face to face, and we have either greater conversation from that point on. But I thank you guys for everything. And remember, trouble with the ladies. Figure out where is it starting from and what can you fix on your end about you to make you feel better about yourself if by chance that's leading to that. So like, subscribe, share, and until next time.